Member for Wanneroo.
Deputy Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to address the House today as the new member for Wanneroo. Can I begin by congratulating you as appointment as Deputy Speaker, and it is very high honour indeed and a role that I am sure you will discharge dignity and great fairness. In the short time available to me, I would like to do three things. I would like to acknowledge the proud history of Wanneroo. I would like to touch on just a few of the issues that obviously contributed to the level of support I received in the ballot box on September. And lastly, I would like to thank the many dedicated people who assisted me to gain the confidence of my community to the degree that after a second attempt they have placed their collective trust in me as their MP. The electorate of Wanneroo is a diverse and colourful place. In its 114 square kilometre resides a veritable cornucopia, a United Nations of nationalities. In the main, Wanneroo residents are hard-working people who prize their freedom and to whom I am more than anything else forever indebted in their trust and confidence in electing me to the House to represent them. That is something I intend to do without fear or favour for all residents of Wanneroo electorate, whether or not they voted for me. The outgoing member, Di Guise, was a good local member. Mr Speaker, I would like to put on the record my admiration for her work and acknowledge for her real contribution both to the Parliament and the community of Wanneroo over the past 7.5 years. She has left large shoes to fill, but I am determined to do so. I wish her well in her life after politics. Wanneroo has a long and compelling history. For many years, people would roll their eyes and look at you as if you were an alien if you said you were from up Wanneroo Way. In the early days, bullock carts would make the long trip of several days from the market gardens in Wanneroo to Perth and back again, stopping for a while to chat and share a few beers at the 7 Mile Peg in Balcatta. They were pioneering times, and in a way I share that spirit. I too feel like a pioneer, especially at the moment, and I want to see Wanneroo grow and prosper. I want to see the Wanneroo area modernised while still retaining its heritage and its character, not become just another cookie-cutter city centre like many other places in Western Australia. I want this to be a central hub for local community where people can gather, enjoy themselves and even debate in a spirit of community involvement. Many people in the chamber today will know that I've been heavily involved in community life for a long time. As a councillor representing the North Ward of the City of Wanneroo and have been official on many other school and community bodies, Wanneroo has in its catchment area 11 schools with a further 2 secondary schools in the pipeline. With such a large school population, I am particularly passionate about furthering the education excellence in the electorate. These students are the future of Wanneroo, and I believe they deserve the best educational opportunities available to ensure their future success. Wanneroo is a rapidly growing area which will need sensible guidance in the provision of additional educational and health services in particular. My life didn't begin in Wanneroo. I was born in the United Kingdom, and my parents Beryl and Alan migrated to Australia and Perth in 1970. We came with my 2 sisters, Lisa and Jane, we lived in Cedric Street, Balcatta, which is why the 7 Mile Peg amuses me. It wasn't long before we moved to Girraween, where my 2 brothers, Adam and Matthew, were born. Sadly, my mother, Beryl, passed away from a brain tumour several years ago, but I'm sure she would be a proud woman today if she was still with us. My father, Alan, is living in Scarborough, and my brothers and sisters and their families are scattered around the world, from Kalbarri, Tujay and Mandurah, and one of my brothers, Matthew, is a factory manager in Thailand where he lives with his wife Nong and their 2 boys. I now have 2 children, Anna 20 years and Jacob 4. I also have a 2-year-old grandson. The thing that scares me the most about coming to this place is that I might somehow become too busy and inadvertently neglect my family. Mr Speaker, I can say right from the outset that I will not let that happen. Family is too important to me, just as it is to most of the electors of Wanneroo who sent me to this place. I have seen the effects of that sort of overcommitment, and so while I pledge 100% effort to the people of Wanneroo, I trust they will appreciate that I, like them, have competing priorities. I will represent my people, the residents of Wanneroo, without fear or favour. I will listen to people's concerns and I will act. These are the pledges that I make to them today. I want to thank my campaign team and the many helpers that assisted me, such as Des and Norm Power, who I acknowledge are now recorded in my memory, if not the Guinness Book of Records, as the fastest letter stuffers in the world, stuffing some 14,000 letters in 1 week. To Sue and Les McDonald, Cheryl Stiles, Gary McLean, Douglas Valeriani and the Honourable Michael Minchin-elect, to the guys that gave up their sleep-ins in the morning to wave call flutes on the street corners, and to have everybody assist with the campaign effort, my sincere thanks. Without their unwavering support during the recent lightning election campaign, I would not have hoped to be where I stand today. To my darling wife, Shelley, and her family, without whose help and support I would never have been able to do this, I send a very heartfelt and very public thank you. She's up there. There are other people who help me too, people who know who they are but prefer not to be named in this address, and to them I say thank you. I might be a POM originally, but I think after nearly 40 years here in this magnificent state, I know a thing or two about Aussie-style mateship and how to thank everyone who has stood by me all these years. I also want to thank the Liberal Party team at Menzies House, Zach Kirkup and Ben Morton included, for their unstinting support and confidence in me to the lead up to the campaign and the midst of the action where things got serious. During the election campaign, it became obvious to me that there were a number of local issues that require urgent attention in Wanneroo. I intend to go into bat for these immediately. Among these, several vital matters which the previous government seems to have deemed unimportant in the grand scheme of plans for new sports stadia, museums and entertainment centres for central Perth. I hope the new government will pay more attention to the outlying areas of the metropolitan area like Wanneroo than the predecessors did. To give just a few examples, I will refer 3 matters that arose during the campaign. And there are many others, but time will not permit to complete the inventory. Firstly, in Bankshire Grove, there is a very dangerous and growing problem with children crossing an increasingly busy Joondalup Drive extension. This road bisects the suburb and is a major feeder road for trucks travelling to and from Great Northern Highway to Wanneroo Road via Neves Road. One child, an 8-year-old girl, has already been hit by a truck in the last 12 months and he's badly injured, even today. More accidents will surely follow unless lights, traffic lights or some other traffic control device are installed at that stretch of the road to ensure safe passage of children, seniors and people with disability, crossing from one side of the suburb to the other. I will continue to fight for this matter to be addressed for local residents. Secondly, in East Wanneroo, it is more than 8 years since the WA Planning Commission was asked to review concerns over the time it has taken the WA Government to provide zoning certainty for landholders. That situation and the WAPC study have been bogged down in red tape all those years. In fact, there is still no end in sight to its deliberations. As a result of the previous government's neglect, East Wanneroo landholders are still in limbo about what they can do with their properties into the future. Some landholders have been told they are unable to start new ventures, redevelop existing properties, or even sell up in some cases because of the former government's dithering and its apparent disregard for the people of East Wanneroo. I believe the landholders in East Wanneroo deserve a far better deal. Therefore, I will fight to have a review of the East Wanneroo zoning laws fast-tracked and, if necessary, to have the matter taken out of the hands of the WAPC altogether, if it cannot get the job done and given its own focus by the new government. Landholders need certainty in relation to their rights over their properties. They should have had that certainty. They deserve it, and I'll go further. As a member of a new Liberal government, I will fight to ease the nightmare of bureaucratic red tape that surrounds this and so many other issues in Wanneroo. Lastly, I have been concerned for some time about the perils faced by residents of two of the largest lifestyle villages on Wanneroo Road in Ashby. When exiting and re-entering their villages, there is a considerable danger for a large number of seniors accessing Wanneroo Road daily from both Pineview and Lake Joondalup Lifestyle Village. Suitable road treatments need to be carried out urgently before a tragedy occurs. After consulting with the residents, I am committed to fighting for a better solution to the current unsatisfactory and unsafe situation. Main Roads has effectively said there is nothing that can be done to protect residents from potentially fatal accidents when turning onto or off of Wanneroo Road. I find that very hard to accept. Something must be done to make these intersections safe. In any event, rest assured that I will not simply accept that there is nothing that can be done. I will take up the fight for permanent, safe and workable solutions to allow the residents of both these lifestyle villages to leave and return to their villages in safety. Mr. Speaker, in closing, can I just reiterate what an honour and a privilege it is to finally get up in this place and speak out on behalf of the people of Wanneroo. It won't be the last time you'll hear from me, and I can assure you of that. I can also assure you and the voters of Wanneroo that I take their confidence very seriously. They have decided to move on and elect a new local member of WA Parliament. I am determined to make their faith in me this justified. The pioneers who built Wanneroo back in the first years of settlement in this tough but uncompromising part of Perth would expect nothing less. Again, thank you to my family, colleagues and supporters for sticking with us thus far this tremendous journey. If you'll excuse for a parting pun, Mr. Speaker, there are a lot of miles left to explore over the next 4 years. I trust that, with the support of the good people of Wanneroo, we can move forward together to a new era of prosperity and fulfilment. I, for one, am committed to do that course. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.